Hey guys, it's me Seren, back with another video. Today is going to be yesterday's Hidden Figure, day 12, even though today is the 13th. Yesterday I got really busy and I wasn't able to get this video up. I had a ton of stuff to do. I washed my hair. It was like a whole thing. And so I wasn't able to get yesterday's video up, so I'm a day behind, but you know, we're going to keep on going. So today is the 12th Hidden Figure, Harriet E Wilson, who was born March 15th, 1825, and died June 28th, 1900. Wilson was a Black American novelist, spiritualist, and entrepreneur. She was the first female Black American novelist, along with being the first Black American of any gender to publish a novel in North America. Her novel, Our Nig, or Sketches from the Life of a Free Black, was published in 1859 in Boston, Massachusetts. The novel was rediscovered in 1982 by the scholar Henry Louis Gates Jr., who documented it as the first Black American novel published in the United States. Born a free Negro in New Hampshire, Harriet E. Hattie Adams was orphaned when young and bound until the age of 18 as an indentured servant. At the end of her indenture, when she turned 18, Hattie Adams, as she was then known, worked as a house servant and seamstress in households in southern New Hampshire. Adams married Thomas Wilson, in Milford, New Hampshire, on October 6, 1851. An escaped slave, Wilson had been traveling around New England giving lectures based on his life. Harriet gave birth to a son, George Mason Wilson, in 1852, but was widowed shortly after when her husband died at sea. After his death, she moved to Boston, hoping for more work opportunities. While living in Boston, Wilson launched a hair care business and beginning in 1857 began running advertisements in a local New Hampshire paper asking, "Who wants a good head of hair?" The ads promised that Mrs. Wilson's Hair Regenerator was a valuable recipe to growing long hair and restoring gray hair to its natural color. Also while living in Boston, Wilson wrote her novel, Sketches from the Life of a Free Black, the story of a free Black woman who works as an indentured servant in the North and her experiences with racism and prejudice. On August 14, 1859, she copyrighted it using the name Mrs. H. E. Wilson and deposited a copy of the novel in the office of the clerk of the U.S. District Court of Massachusetts. On September 5, 1859, the novel was published by George C. Rand and Avery, a publishing firm in Boston, making her the first Black American to be published in the United States. Wilson says in the book's preface she wrote the novel to raise money to help care for her sick child, George. Sadly, George died in Boston at the age of 7 on February 16, 1860, of bilious fever. 10 weeks after the death of her son, Wilson returned to her hair care business, achieving immense success. In 1860 and 1861, at least 1,500 ads for Mrs. Wilson's hair products appeared in newspapers across New England and as far south as New Jersey. They ran in 9 different papers in New York State alone. In the New York Times, a wholesaler listed more than 4,000 bottles of her product for sale if the buyer could pay in cash. The name used to write her book, Mrs. H. E. Wilson, is the same name blown into her hair products glass bottles and listed in early ads as the preparer of the formula, and larger ads also feature Wilson's only surviving likeness. Mrs. Wilson's hairdressing and hair regenerator grew into a large-scale enterprise 50 years before Madam C.J. Walker launched her own hair care line. On September 29, 1870, Wilson married again to John Gallatin Robinson, who worked as an apothecary and assisted in the mixing, bottling, and selling of her products in drugstores. They lived together for 7 years before separating. Wilson was also a known seer and spiritualist called the Colored Medium in the city of Boston. She gave readings at camp meetings, theaters, meeting houses, and private homes throughout New England, and in 1870 traveled as far as Chicago, Illinois as a delegate to the American Association of Spiritualists convention. Wilson worked as a spiritualist nurse and healer called a clairvoyant physician, and in the Banner of Light, a national spiritualist paper, was called Boston's Earnest and Eloquent Colored Medium. She also used her platform to speak about her life experiences, advocating for the education of Black children and against racism. In addition to her hair care and spirituality work, she was the housekeeper of a boarding house for nearly 20 years, from 1879 to 1897. Wilson rented out rooms, collected rents, and provided basic maintenance. In her active and fruitful life after writing Sketches from the Life of a Free Black, there is no evidence that she wrote anything else for publication. On June 28, 1900, Hattie E. Wilson died in the Quincy Hospital in Quincy, Massachusetts. She was buried in the Cobb family plot in the town's Mount Wollaston Cemetery. Her plot number is listed as 1337 Old Section. On October 6, 2006, the town of Milford, New Hampshire unveiled the Harriet E. Wilson Memorial Statue in her honor. The scholar Henry Louis Gates Jr. rediscovered Sketches from the Life of a Free Black in 1982 when he found an original copy of the book in a Manhattan bookstore. He documented it as the first novel by a Black American to be published in the United States and republished it in 1983. His discovery of the novel gained national attention as, up until that point, it had been widely accepted that the first Black American published novelist was Frances Ellen Watkins Harper with Eola Leroy, or Shadows Uplifted, in 1892. And I do have a Hidden Figures on Frances Ellen Watkins Harper if you want to check that out as well. Sketches from the Life of a Free Black was reissued by Penguin Random House with an introduction by Gates and has since been republished in several other editions. Other researchers and historians have theorized that her novel did not receive critical acclaim when first published because it did not conform to the contemporary genre of slave narratives, providing instead a powerful, controversial, and unsettling narrative of what life was really like for free Blacks in the North. Writer and historian Eric Gardner has stated that abolitionists may have refrained from promoting it because the novel recounts slavery's shadow in the North, where free Blacks suffered as indentured servants and from racism. It fails to offer the promise of freedom, and it features a protagonist who is assertive towards a white woman. And that is Harriet E. Wilson, A Hidden Figure. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. There will be more links and information in the description box. Food for thought as always. See you guys next time with the next Hidden Figure. Peace.